Have you ever complained about your boss? Maybe they work you too hard, or don't give you enough vacation. Well, be glad you didn't work in an ancient Chinese palace. Because if you were a palace maid, back then your career path basically had two options. 1. Stay in the palace forever. Or 2. Get kicked out before you were 30. Let me explain. Part 1. Before the Qing dynasty, congratulations, you live here now. For most of Chinese history, palace maids did not retire. They didn't quit. They didn't move back home. They just stayed in the palace for life. One poet described seeing white-haired old palace women chatting in the palace garden about things that happened decades ago. Basically like that one co-worker who's been at the company since before the 1980s. And here's the fun part. In ancient standards, old did not mean 60 or 70 or even 50. Nope. Old meant 25. Ancient beauty standards were brutal. Once a palace maid passed 25 or 26, an emperor might release her, but only if he was unusually kind, or he felt like reducing palace expenses, or, this is real, she was pretty enough to get married outside. Pretty palace maids were sometimes released because they were easy to marry off. The emperor didn't want to be stuck paying their retirement. Meanwhile, palace maids who were older or less attractive, the emperor kept them and became responsible for their food and housing. Part 2. The Qing dynasty flips the rule. You must live by 30. Now here comes the plot twist. During the Qing dynasty, the last imperial dynasty, palace maids were almost all born into a military noble system called the 8 Banners. You don't need to remember the name. Just think of it as a small elite community where population numbers really mattered. If too many women stayed in the palace forever, well, let's just say the population statistics would look very bad. So the government created a rule: at age 30, every palace maid must leave the palace. Yes, for the first time in Chinese history, palace maids had a mandatory retirement. Why 30? Because in ancient East Asia, a woman over 30 was considered middle-aged. But leaving the palace wasn't sad. It was actually great news. When these women finally left, they had excellent manners, they understood etiquette, and they had years of palace experience. They were basically the Harvard graduates of household management. So tons of men lined up to marry them, sometimes as first wives, but mostly as second or third wives. Either way, palace maids were very popular. Part 3. Modern Beijing still keeps the memory. Even today, parts of Beijing still carry names related to where retired palace maids and eunuchs lived. You can walk around and think, oh cool, this is where the imperial retirement community used to be. Summary. Before the Qing dynasty, welcome to the palace. No one ever leaves. During the Qing dynasty, thank you for your service. Please exit at age 30. In short, old system, palace maids stayed in the palace forever. New system, palace maids retired at 30 and went out to get married. Ancient China, where 25 was old, 30 was very old, and if you survived the palace life, you earned early retirement by royal decree.